From fabulous Las Vegas, Nevada, this is another episode of the Walkertown Report. My name is Dwayne Walker, and on this show we're going to talk about inventions. As Vegas rebounds and people in sales are going to be descending on the convention floors of Vegas to try to sell the latest innovations. Rob DeBardeleben is the man behind Ignite Product Design. That is a company that specializes in helping inventors and bringing ideas from just being theoretical into being actual practical products that you can sell. And of course, something that would benefit everybody as a whole. I got to sit down and do a podcast interview with Rob DeBardeleben, and my first question was, hey, I have a great idea for an invention.
Many people say, I know that I've said this in the past, okay, I have a great idea for an invention. But when somebody comes up to you and says something like that, what do you suggest to them? What are your suggestions when somebody has an idea? What's the best way for them to bring that idea into a physical, practical reality?
Well, it's funny you say that because almost every person I run into when they find out what I do for a living, they have an idea. So I think pretty much everybody has an idea for a new invention. Right. The first thing is to decide, where that idea came from. A lot of times a person would get an idea subliminally from watching late night television, for example, and they wake up the next morning and all of a sudden this new idea has popped into their head. So first thing I try to do is to get inside their head and to find out what this idea is all about, where it came from, and where they want to go with it. Because it's the direction that we take depends a lot on where this person has a vision of where they want to take their idea.
I take it though, a prototype would be necessary, correct? For any invention, you would want to start out with a prototype, and then. What I'm trying to get is, at what point would they be calling you? Would they be trying to call you after they've developed some type of a prototype?
Not necessarily. We have different phases that we can assist with the inventor, and sometimes we help them develop their idea long before there's a prototype. We have that practical experience, and we can see what the invention is, and maybe have some input into what makes more practical sense. Other times the idea might be more mature and the person might already have a prototype already made, but sometimes it's a crude prototype and it's not necessarily representative of something that would you would want to show, like in a video, for example, or a crowdfunding effort, for example. So, we get them in all different levels, and we've got structure built in our system to accommodate that.
Tell me about during the last couple of years, as you've been helping people develop their products. What sort of inventions are you promoting now? I think I read something about some kind of a cocktail ice maker. Could you tell me a little bit more about that?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, before I get to that specific case. A lot of times an invention doesn't have to be a new product. It can be an improvement on an existing product. And that's really what the ice mold maker is. That's a good example of how the process goes. We, through encounters at restaurants, I decided that the experience with a single clear ice cube in your drink is more enjoyable than a cloudy ice cube. Now, of course, you could say it doesn't make any difference how it tastes, but it just seems like it's a better, more quality drink if you've got a clear ice cube. So I bought all of these ice cube makers that you can buy online, and they all are pretty much garbage, right? So I go, okay, well, I need to come up with a better way for people to make these at home. And so I built some prototypes by hand, and this is typical of a process that an inventor should go through, right? So first you decide that it's going to be an improvement on an existing product to make an existing product better. or in other cases, you're going to create something that's completely new, which is a little bit more difficult road to hoe. But nonetheless, so our ice makers are an improvement on an existing product. We bought everything that was out there, tried them, tested them, decided what worked, what didn't work, and engineered a better product. And so that's what we have on the market today.
And well, on this device that you're talking about, can you tell me a little bit about the life cycle of that? I mean, like when you're first putting it together, what would be the operating cost? What was the cost in order to like make something like that a reality?
Well, the first thing I did was I built some home prototypes. I watched some videos on YouTube how to do some things, and combined with my experience, then I went ahead and I built some homemade prototypes, crude, but would at least prove the theory of whether or not we can make clear ice cubes or ice shapes. And then we find sources that can manufacture a prototype for us in not necessarily the same material that we would use in production, but a material that would be appropriate to test our design. And so we do that. We designed it on CAD. We had a company make the prototypes for us. We tested them, they worked, and then we adjusted the design. We make little improvements here and there, like how easy is it to, take the mold apart? Does it stick in the outer shell, for example? We wanted to make it more user friendly, so we make adjustments here and there. And then we contract a couple of companies. They're basically 3 different elements that go into this product, and we found sources to make the 3 different parts. We manufacture a low production run. We ship it here to our facility in Las Vegas and assemble them, and then we promote it through crowdfunding. And we've been through all of that, and now we have them available. You can buy them on Amazon or through our website, the tuvoy.com website, which is the brand name, or we also have them at Walmart and eBay and Etsy. So we've got them out there available right now for purchase.
Oh, well, when it comes to like raising money for an invention, I mean, what advice do you have to really at that point, not just inventors, but to anybody? I mean, because I did have somebody tell me once who is in the movie business that if crowdfunding is a big part of your budget or a big part of how you're going to be raising funds, then you're probably not going to be raising a lot of money. What are your thoughts about crowdfunding and all?
Well, that's a really good subject because it's a very popular subject by going crowdfunding your new invention or your new product. And we see it from both sides. We see it from people that come to us who don't have any capital at all or very little capital, and their plan to raise the capital and manufacture the product is through crowdfunding. We've also had people come to us that have already been through the crowdfunding route and have been funded and come to us and are ready to complete the design and get it into manufacturing. Now, there's a very high failure rate of crowdfunding, and that's because people don't do it right, okay? And so it takes a lot of effort. First thing you have to know is you have to have all the numbers, right? You have to know exactly what this thing is going to cost you to manufacture and ship to wherever you're going to ship it to, whether it's for a fulfillment center or ship it to yourself and you're going to fulfill the orders. So most crowdfunding programs fail because they don't know their numbers. Typically they ask for not enough money, right? And then they raise the money. Let's say their crowdfunding effort is successful. They put together a professional video. They put together a really good campaign. They've gone out on social media and they've drawn all the people to their crowdfunding site, and they raise the capital that they plan, but it's not enough, right? So then they go down the path of fulfilling these orders and they run out of money. Now you're in trouble, right? Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of famous cases of people that do that, and we see it all the time. And so the root cause of the problem is they didn't know their numbers. So the only way to really know your numbers before you go crowdfunding is to have the engineering done. And you're just going to have to come out of pocket to pay for that, because you're not going to get hard numbers on what it's going to cost to manufacture your product and ship your product until you have the actual engineering documentation that you submit to the manufacturers, and they give you hard quotes, right? So if you try to guess at the numbers, you're going to be wrong, and your crowdfunding is ultimately going to fail.
What's coming up in the future? I'm just wondering, one of the hot topics right now, it seems like everybody's putting together a course, an online course. I mean, have you thought about maybe taking all the expertise, everything that you've learned over the last couple of years or even decades, and just putting it into some kind of an online course for inventors?
I've thought about that a little bit, but I'm really not good at. I mean, I could give the course, but to produce it and to promote it, that's not really
okay. I'd like to thank you for taking time out of your schedule. Thank you, and thank you for watching the Walkertown Report.